Canon might be standing on the edge of its boldest gamble in recent memory. The chatter surrounding the EOS R6 Mark III feels less like routine excitement and more like a calculated risk. If the whispers prove true and this camera actually drops in November, it could shake Canon's entire product strategy. But what exactly makes this release so loaded with anticipation and risk? The R6 series has always been about finding a sweet spot. The first R6 wasn't about headline-grabbing megapixels or cinema-first video specs. It was about balance. It gave shooters pro-level autofocus, excellent low-light performance, and a taste of Canon's flagship experience at a fraction of the cost. Then came the R6 Mark II, a refined workhorse that cemented itself as one of Canon's most beloved hybrids. With a dependable 24MP sensor and a strong mix of stills and video features, it became a go-to choice for professionals and enthusiasts alike. That success, however, created a mountain of expectation. And now, with the R6 Mark III, Canon seems ready to push beyond balance into uncharted territory. Leaks suggest a big shift, a 30-32MP full-frame CMOS sensor, possibly the same one inside the cinema EOS C50. If true, this is huge. Canon has historically drawn a clear line between its cinema and hybrid cameras. Blurring that line signals a willingness to disrupt its own lineup. The rest of the spec sheet only raises eyebrows further. Dual Digic X processors with a Digic accelerator, 6K RAW video at 60 frames per second, 4K at 120 frames per second, support for C-Log 2 and 3, and enhanced deep learning autofocus. Add in dual card slots, CF Express Plus SD UHS-2, and a redesigned vari-angle screen, and suddenly the R6 III looks less like a mid-tier hybrid and more like a baby cinema rig. If all this holds true, Canon is essentially saying, mid-tier no longer means compromise. Of course, specs on paper don't always line up with real-world desires. Many shooters argue Canon should keep things modest, stick to 24MP, ensure clean 4K with no line skipping, prioritize heat management, and refine ergonomics. Others want Canon to go all in, faster readout speeds, stack sensors, more cinema-level tools like in-camera LUT previews, and even a top LCD panel for consistency with higher-tier models. The community is clear on one thing, though, incremental updates won't cut it. As one R6 II owner bluntly put it, if it doesn't feel faster, I'm skipping it. That kind of honesty sums up the pressure Canon faces. Canon has long been accused of holding back features to protect its cinema EOS line. If the R6 III really does deliver 6K RAW and 4K 120 frames per second, suddenly the C50 risks losing its spotlight. That's classic cannibalization, and it's something Canon has historically avoided. Then there's the competition. Sony's A7 IV is coming soon, Nikon's Z6 III is carving out its own territory, and Panasonic is retooling its S-series. If Canon undershoots on sensor tech or autofocus improvements, the R6 III could look like a half step in a market that demands bold leaps. Price only complicates matters. At $2,700, the R6 III could undercut Sony and win value-driven creators. At $3,000, however, buyers might just stretch to an R5 or pick up a discounted R5 II. Misjudge the pricing, and Canon risks alienating the very audience that made the R6 II a success. So, when's it coming? Rumors point to late November, specifically the 16th or 26th. But there's a catch. The C50 isn't expected until December. Canon may delay the R6 III to avoid overshadowing its cinema line, pushing it into early 2026, possibly at CP Plus in February. That timing decision could prove as critical as the specs themselves. So, will we see it this November? That remains the million-dollar question. But one thing's certain, the R6 Mark III represents risk, opportunity, and perhaps the most exciting chapter in Canon's hybrid story yet. Thanks for watching.